Okay. Let's just share screen right back. I'm gonna make this image I just downloaded available. So if we want to repeat the exercise, we can just use the same image, okay? Yeah, I don't know this one. Okay, so I'm hoping Adesi can come back quickly. So let me just pause recording for now. Design something, okay? I insist we design something before we leave this class. Okay. Macklins, you've got time a little, right? You have a little time on your hands so we can design something. All right, good. Good. So let me just go back to free pick and pick this picture. I wanted to download that. Yep. Let's download the medium of it. Okay, that downloaded straight to my downloads folder. Interesting. So let me just pick that. Awesome. Let's go back here. Let's drop that in. Awesome. Okay, so today let's do some things with basic shapes. Let's do some design with basic shapes. Learn how to do okay, so I was hoping it will come back. Let's continue. So like I said, Photoshop is all about layers, and everything you drop, your type, your images, your shapes, even the littlest dot you need on Photoshop will take up a layer of its own. So if you can think about that process as Photoshop being all about stacking one thing on top of the other, then it makes the whole thing easy if you just think about it that way. So let's bring in the image you just downloaded. You know what, let's, before we bring in that, again, here's the move tool, and the shortcut to that is V. So the idea is, if you use another tool, say I've used the text tool and I've written my name, as so, I must always go back to my move tool. Whatever you do on Photoshop, always go back to your move tool. Otherwise, you might find yourself doing things you don't want to do. And notice this now. I wanted to select something else. That's where I was talking about having the auto select here. I wanted to select something else without without touching Alexander or that type. I'm able to move it. Why? Because I don't have this auto select on. So whatever layer you're on, whatever layer is selected here, whatever layer is selected here, that's the only thing you're going to be able to touch. But if I have this auto select on this way, then I can move this. If I have another shape on there, say I've got this ellipse, this red ellipse, say I've got that. So let's say I've got that. let me just, for the sake of people who are just joining, if I have this auto select off, if I don't have that selected, and I wanted to select this Alexander, notice what happens, okay? I want to select this. I don't know. I thought I just see you try to come in. So where is it? Okay, it's still trying to join. So if I don't have auto select checked, and I try, Macklins, why are you upside down in the video? So, and I try to select this, I try to select this circle I have created, this ellipse. Notice what happens. I'm trying to select that ellipse, right? I'm trying to select this. Notice what happens. I try to select it, I can't, because this auto select is not on. So whenever you have this off, you're only going to be able to select what you have selected here on your layers panel. This is the layers panel, okay? So whatever you have selected on the layers panel is what you'll be able to take on the canvas. If I select this ellipse, right? I don't know what my Photoshop is misbehaving. And I try to select that text, it's not going to work. But if I have this auto select on, then I can go ahead and select this. I can go ahead and select this. However I want it. I don't know why my Photoshop is slowing down all that. Okay, good. So the way to remove a selection, take notes. The way to remove a layer, if you have created a layer, the way to remove a layer is to press backspace and backspace. So I was hoping we all watched that video so I don't have to go through this, but so this video, this session makes sense to us. I'm just going to go through all the ways to create a layer in Photoshop. So to create a layer in Photoshop, number one, you can come here to layer in the menu, come to menu, layer, select that, come to new and select layer, okay? Give that layer a name. Say, for example, we want this layer to be the background layer. So just call, of course, we have a background there. I don't use it. I usually don't use that. I don't rely on it. So I'm just going to type into this box BG, okay? And once that is done, press OK, and you have created a new layer. Another way to create a layer, let me just remove that. Again, select that layer, press backspace on your keyboard, and that removes it. Another way to create a layer is to come down here where the layer, to the bottom of the layer. Excuse me. I had too much caffeine this afternoon. Soda. Okay. So you come down here to where you have this plus sign. By the way, if you are on CS6, you're not going to have a plus sign. You're going to have a sign that looks like a new document sign. It's still the same. Macklin, you are upside down. You are in the video, so it looks somehow, it looks uncomfortable. Do you think you can come the right way up, or just hide the video? Okay. So come here, select that, and boom. So that's the way. That's another way to create layer. Now, to rename this layer, the layer you've created this way, to rename it, you need to just double click on the name, on this label that says layer 1. If I was to double click outside, I'm going to come up with layer styles, and we're not there yet, okay? But you need to double click, that is double tap on your keyboard, on your mouse. You need to double click on this label, double click that, and you get this. And then you can name that to BG again, and we're good. Is that see in the class? I just want to check what's wrong. Oh, it's finding it difficult to join the class tonight. Okay, so those are the two ways you can create layers. Now, another important thing, some of these tools here, they create their own layer. Example is the shape tool. The shape tool, let's draw that circle again, that ellipse. If I draw this ellipse, the ellipse is going to create its own layer automatically. Not all the not all the tools do that, but shape tools, they do that. So notice I've drawn this vector and then we've got that layer, and I can just rename that and say red circle. Red circle. Can I see spell circle? Hopefully I can. There we go. So I can rename that. To remove that, just press backspace. Another tool that makes its own layer is the text tool. You can see it says text tool, the horizontal text tool there. So if I select that and type out the name of my brand, again, the lighter company, and I say, okay, this way, notice that has created a layer of its own. So there are other tools that create their own layers, but these more often than not are the two that will give you their own layer by default. Let's press backspace to remove that. Okay, so for today's work, we need to import image. So let's learn how to import image in Photoshop. Let me just see my people's face and make sure they're with me. Okay, good. All right, to import image in Photoshop, you go to File, you get Place Link and Place Embed. You can do either of the two. Let me just explain the difference. And that's why we should have watched the videos, so I don't have to go through all this. It's fine though. Okay, so Place Linked. If you place linked, it's just gonna give you a reference of that image. The problem is if you delete that image from the location from where you have it on your computer, and then you open your your Photoshop document, you're gonna be missing that image, and Photoshop is gonna be popping up asking you to locate that image. But if you place embedded, then the image is gonna be embedded into the Photoshop file. It will make the Photoshop file larger, but wherever you take that Photoshop file to, you're still gonna have that image. So for our purpose this evening, I'm going to place embed, and I'm going to look for that image. I'm going to look for that image we downloaded. So this one, you know what? Let's bring this in because of something I want to do. Let's use this one. And now, once you bring in an image, you get this thing around it called the transform tool. There are two ways to remove it. You could click on this one that says finish, commit actually. It comes up when you have your text tool. It comes up when you're transforming. So you can commit this way, or you can press enter on your keyboard, and that's gonna do it too. So that's the way to place an image. Let me show us a second way to place image or to import image into your Photoshop document. So I'm going to press backspace. By now, I think we should be used to pressing the backspace shortcut for removing things from our layer. Again, let me just undo that. Notice that this is a layer, and then I press backspace and it's gone. Okay, so another way to just bring something into Photoshop is to basically open your file explorer. Of course, if you are using Mac, if you're on a Mac, this will be your Finder. So open up your file explorer on Windows, simply click and drag that image straight into Photoshop, and that's gonna do the same thing for you. Okay, press enter and you're good. Okay, looks like we're gonna have a full house this evening. All right. Wait, why is Benga having to, okay, maybe he's trying to connect his, his phone. Okay, that's a good idea. You can connect on phone and then work on your laptop. That's good. Okay. Okay, so good. So now I think we know how to bring in images again. If you have a question, just give me audio and ask your question, okay? And I'm gonna ask any question now. I'm giving us more value than we talked about, but that's fine. When I get started with these things, I like to finish. This is supposed to be 1 hour class, but obviously you can, it's fine. So yeah, any question? You okay? Yes, Adesu, give me audio. I've seen you raise the hand. Give me audio.
I've
and
downloaded my
see.
Photoshop app, but I can't install it.
Hold on. Let me see if my headphone is gonna click in again. Hold on, just give me a second. Right, ask your question now. Ask your question.
I've downloaded my Photoshop app, but I can't install it.
Okay. You know what? Maybe you and I can have a personal Zoom session where I show you how to install it, or we could turn that into learning to. Who else has a problem installing Photoshop? Maybe we can just turn the rest of the class into learning how to install. Huh? Who else has a problem installing the Photoshop? Hello. Okay, I think it's just Adesi. So if it's just you, let's have a personal Zoom class tomorrow morning, and I'm going to show you how to install Photoshop. Okay, is that good?
Your audio quality is now poor.
You said what?
Your audio quality is poor.
Yeah, what did you say?
Now it's clear.
Hello, Adesi.
I can hear you.
Hello.
I was saying your audio.
Yeah, Zoom did complain about my audio this evening, and I don't know what's going on. I'm supposed to have a good system with the audio. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm going to check that out tomorrow morning. Okay, so let's just continue. Okay, let me see people's faces. Okay, yeah, this is not going to give me everyone's faces. Okay, all right. So, yeah. Okay. All right, so moving on, let's use, what we want to do is just a simple flyer that announces some offer from telecoms, not that maybe a tech startup. Okay, obviously tech startups, they've got a mobile app and they're just trying to like tell us something. So we've got our image, and the next thing we want to do is we want to try to remove this background from the image. Okay, so we're going to try to remove that background, and to do that, let's do this. There's a way I like to work. There are two ways. You can just go ahead and rasterize this layer, and so that image becomes a flat object that you can work with. Let me just show us what that means. When you bring in this image, notice that you've got that little icon on it that shows that it's a smart object, but not a Photoshop smart object yet. Now, what I like to do is to convert to smart objects so that it becomes a real Photoshop smart object, and then I work more. But let me just show us something. Let's say I've taken my selection tool and try to select that, and then normally the way to delete a selection is to press backspace, but that's not going to work. We're going to have this problem. The reason is because the image is not yet a flat object. You need that image to be a flat object. So we're going to just Control D to remove that selection. So I'm going to rasterize this layer and see that symbol is gone. And now this is now a simple flat layer that we can work with. Now we're going to be working with one of the selection tools. If you've watched the selection video, you're going to know what I'm doing. So we're going to use the quick selection tool. And the way I am increasing the size is by tapping bracket close on my keyboard. This works for brushes, works for your selection tools. So bracket open is going to make it small, bracket close is going to make it big. Again, to make this selection and quick selection tool larger and smaller, let me just come to the black space. So it's what I'm doing. So bracket open makes it small, bracket close makes it big. So take note. So take note. Now to select this blue region, I'm just going to click and drag. I don't even need to drag because it's so large. Click, one big click, select everything for me. So now I have what we call in Photoshop a selection. Is my class following? Please give me audio, everybody. Let me know that we are following. Audio, please. Quick one. Hello, audio.
Can you repeat the process?
Yes, yes.
The process you just
Hello.
Can you repeat it?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me
Hello.
right now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello.
This remote.
Why can't I hear?
We can hear you.
Oh yeah, I lowered my audio. Yeah. So
Can
sorry. So sorry. Yeah. Audio people. Yeah. Any
can hear you.
question
Yeah, can you
so
repeat
far?
the process again? Can you repeat the process?
Yeah, I'm not hearing
again?
nothing. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with
After
audio.
rasterizing,
So
can you
again,
repeat?
I'm gonna do
Can
that
you
one more
repeat the
time.
process?
I select this. If I wanted to select the shirt, I'm just gonna come and select the shirt and more of the shirt and more of the shirt and there. But what we want to select is that background, that blue region. So it's big, awesome. Now the way to remove the background, once we've made our selection, just the same way you delete layers, we use backspace to delete that background. So backspace takes out the background for us. Now I see some lines here that I don't want, so I'm just gonna go ahead and select those lines. You know what? We're not gonna, let's do this another way around. Let's go back to our selection. So instead of using backspace, what we're going to use is, and I think I'm taking us to complex now. No, you know what? For now, let's just use backspace. And maybe in another class, we're gonna look at masks because that's a whole other shebang. Now we need to remove the blue from our hearings. We could use this quick selection tool, but that would be overkill right now. So let's come back here to where quick selection tool is, and let's select magic wand. And we can select that, backspace, select that, backspace, select this region, backspace, select that too, backspace. Now we've got some of it in the here. And the way we can work with that, I think we have no choice but to actually, yeah, the way we can work with that is to go in with our tool. I'm just going to make this very minimal, very minimal. I'm going to select, so hold on, let me just close this off and Control D to remove that. So the tool I'm using now is the Polygonal Lasso tool. And it's always drawing a straight line to make its selections. I just want to remove some of this. Of course, this is going to give us not so perfect air. We're not going to get a feathered air using this die, but we're not looking at perfection right now. I just want to show us the way some of these tools work. So what I'm doing really, by the way, let me just explain. What I'm doing is clicking several. I'm just making several clicks. So every time you see that thing make a node, it's because I've made a click. I'm clicking, click, 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 click. I'm moving my mouse and I'm clicking, click. And then now the thing is you always have to close it. So you see that zero thing coming up, notice that that zero is not there. But if you go now, you've got that zero thing coming up. Now we close them. And the way to remove that hair now again is backspace, and that's going to remove the hair. If we can hear me, let me know on WhatsApp. If there's a problem and you can't hear us, let's just know it. Let me know on WhatsApp too. But if you are able to hear me, let me know on WhatsApp, okay? So there we go. So we don't have a perfect hair now, but a trick we can use is to, again, okay, I have something wrong with mine. I've got all these lines here. The way to remove that is to use another tool called the rectangular marquee tool. If this is getting really complex really fast, don't just take a breather. Don't get scared. Just take it one step at a time. This video is going to be available. You can rewind it, pause it, do it. So I want to remove this blue line here. I don't like that because we don't need that. So the way to do that is I'm going to take my rectangular marquee tool from here. Again, I've shown us how to bring this up, right click and rectangular. And then I'm going to select that, backspace. Now you see it's gone. I think it might be, I might get a straight line there. So I'm going to take no chance here. I'm going to just select that and backspace too. Awesome. So now we can move the lady around. Her hair is not feathered, but at least we have the lady. She's selected. The picture is selected. Now I want to make this picture here, but I want to make it bigger just to fill the screen a bit. The way to do that is to go to, because this is a layer, right? So let's go to layer, let's go to edit and go to transform, okay? But I think the one I want to do is free transform. So free transform. The shortcut to that is Control-T, okay? You can see where we come to edit, free transform, it says Control-T right there. So good. So with this one, there are two ways to make this big. We could just drag our edges, or we could come here, making sure that this is selected. If I turn this off, that's a problem. I'm going to be having a bit of a problem, but making sure that this is selected, I can use either this W or this H. Notice that if you over your mouse here, you're going to get that little thing telling you can go left and right. So if I drag right, I'm going to get that. If I drag left, I'm going to get that. Okay, so if you watch the videos, you're going to get all this. Okay. So I just want to make sure that she's centrally aligned and she's filling the space to some extent. So we've got the image in place as we want to use it. Later, I'm going to come back to soften this hair. I don't like what's going on with that hair. The way to do it is to select our eraser tool. We're just going to, yeah, I think I'm fine with the flow 100%. I don't know if I want 100%. Actually, I don't want 100%, 50% thereabout. This is not the standard way to do this, by the way, but this is just a makeshift way to get our hair to look a bit soft, okay? Because right now it's looking too sharp for my liking. So you can use the eraser tool that way, just to soften the hair. And you're gonna understand why we need to soften the hair later when we put a background to it. Because the hair is gonna blend into the background and it's gonna look a little more realistic, like, okay, this is a real hair there. And our photo manipulation is gonna look better. So we've changed our hair totally, but yeah, I think we have a better hair now. So the next thing we want to do is create a bit of a background for her. The way to do this is in two ways. We know how to, is to create a layer. Already we know how to create a layer by coming to layer, new layer, but I want us to use the shortcode. The shortcode is Control-Shift-N. Again, I'm going to do that. I want you to take note, Control-Shift-N. And I'm just going to do BG because I want that to be the background. I'm going to press enter. Now, the background has come on top of our picture layer. I'm going to let us continue working so we see what happens. So now we want to sample a color from our cloth. And this is a good design approach. It's always a good idea to sample background colors from your dominant object, whether it is your image that is dominant also, especially from images that are going to be dominating your design, it's always good to sample colors from it. You can sample the color from the screen, from the skin, or you sample the color from the clothing. In this situation, we're going to sample the color from the clothing. So yeah, and when I talk about sampling of colors and all that, here's what I mean. Now I've got this red thing going on here. I'm just going to return this to the default setting, and the way to do that is to press to press D on your keyboard, D. So this is the way this is going to actually open up as. Now, let me explain these two things. This one at the top is called foreground color. And if you double click into that, you get this color dialog. And this at the bottom, if you click that, it's called background. You can see it says background color here. Again, double click, it says foreground color. Don't bother yourself thinking that, oh, is that going to mean that, okay, this is the color of the background of our design, or this is the color of the foreground of our design? No. Photoshop has just named two color pickers, foreground and background color. That's all. There's nothing to it. Unless when you're dealing with mask, then there's a lot to it. But for now, there's nothing to it. So let's just double click this and just select a color from our clothing. Maybe somewhere here. And the color we've got is CDDB3A. If this were a live physical class, I'm going to be calling out the colors to us. So now, and I think we're going to use colors from our hair later. So I'm just going to pick a brown for my hair. Good. So I've used the background color. I've sampled it from my hair, 20140C. And I've sampled the foreground color from our clothing. Now the way to apply the color, I think I'd rather sample the foreground color from our skin. Let's do that. But we want somewhere a bit dark from our skin. Yeah, maybe from our knuckles there. There we go. Okay. So the way to apply, because what we want to do now is fill this layer with this foreground color. There are two ways to do this. You can come here to this paint bucket tool. The shortcode for that is G. Okay, just G, the key G on your keyboard. If you take this key down, if you take the paint bucket tool and just simply left click on your keyboard, you're gonna get that. Let me undo that. Another way to do this is to make sure that this layer is selected, then hold Alt on your keyboard, hold the Alt key. If you're on a Mac, this is going to be Option key, but you hold the Alt key on Windows and you press backspace. So backspace does a lot of things in Photoshop. Now the problem is we no longer see our image. So what's going on here? The reason is because this layer is stacked on top of our image layer. What we need to do is reorder our layers. The way to do that is to select it and simply drag down. Drag until you see this line saying under, and then you just drop them. Now we've got this nice image, and I think our hair is looking weird, but we'll go with that. Okay.
Really?
So I like how the cloth ties to the image, and that is good work. Okay. What we can do is do some overlay and all that and make the image, hopefully the hair ties more into that. I'm going to come back into all this later because I'm here to explain this, and I don't even want us to go into all this today. But I think I'm going to do a bit of, not overlay. No. Okay. Maybe a bit of linear color. I'm getting a warning again, so I may have to sign up and come back quickly. But for now, we're still in. So what we want to do quickly with our poster is going to be a clean poster, in the sense that we're not going to put we're not going to put a lot of texture on this. We're not going to put any external texture, but we're going to create a texture here in Photoshop. The first thing I want us to do is to select this layer, right click it, and convert to smart object. What that does is it helps you to save this layer and be able to apply a lot of things to that layer without really affecting the layer, so that you can always go back to that layer and do whatever you want to eat. You're going to understand this much later, but the next thing you want to do is go to filter, go to noise, and want to add noise. So this is too much noise. We're just going to reduce that to around maybe 3, or even 2, 1.5. Yeah, I think I'm good with 1.5. Let me just turn off this filter, and I'm going to zoom in by using Control+ on the keyboard. Notice that too much. Notice that this is just a flat surface. There's no texture going on and all that. But if I apply this smart filter now, if I bring that noise, notice that I've got a bit of noise, a bit of texture going on. So that's good. Texture is important in graphic design. And because I've got the texture going on now, I'm just going to remove this blend mode. Awesome. So the next thing we want to do is add some text, some typography to our work. So what do we want to say? Can you give me audio and suggest something we could say with our poster? Hello, class. I no longer have Benga. Probably there's something wrong. Hello, class. Can we hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Let me just get some feedback from class, please. Let me just get some feedback. Audio, please.
My audio is even fine. Hello, we can
Okay,
hear you.
I'm not getting any audio from class. I don't know. Is audio record? Hello, audio, please.
We can hear you.
Macklin. Yeah, any questions so far?
No.
Macklin, no questions.
No question. No.
Okay, good. All right, so using the type 2, this horizontal type 2, let's just say, I'm just going to say voila here. Now, here's something important. You can select the color of your type here. Otherwise, it's going to be typing using your foreground color. So I'm just going to say big bonus or bonus. Okay, let's say a wolf. Yeah, I think a wolf is the thing that's going on these days. So let's just say a wolf. And we can come here to property tools. Anything you do here, anything you do, especially with type 2 or shape tools, you can get the properties here from this side. I've put my properties there, but whatever your properties column is, you can do that. I thought Binga was just trying to come in now. We lost him again. What's going on? So let's increase the text type. The way to do that is to come here to this TT here, where you have the text, and we're just going to select 72. So that's not big enough. I want it a little bigger. As a matter of fact, I'm going to remove this drop down because I want that to be a different thing. Okay. Does anyone remember some of the fonts we downloaded? I just want to see if I can take a font we downloaded and play with it now. Okay, I think I'm going to go with this one. We probably downloaded this one recently. So the name of that font is All Fun. And I think we can find that at the font. So my font size here, of course, you can select the font size here, or you can just simply type in the font size, which I'm going to use 130. There we go. And this thing is called Connie. This VA here is called Connie. It's basically, okay, I think we've got everybody in class, good. Well, not everybody, but at least the people who are regular. So this thing is called Kenny. It basically controls the space between your font. A good rule of typography is to tighten things up, especially in your headers. Tighten it up. Don't tighten it so much that there's no space. So I'm just gonna open that up a little. Okay, too much. I'm using, okay, so let's just tighten that up a little. You know what? I think let's just tighten it. I like it when it's so tight and it's saying this. But again, it's looking like a logo. So let's give it some room, okay? Awesome. So we just want to say awoof. And I probably want to bring that down. I'm using Control T. By the way, you can do that. You can actually resize anything with Control T. Even your typography can be resized with Control T. Okay, good. Now I want to do something with this awoof thing going on. But to be able to do what I want to do, I need to come here and duplicate this awoof. So you come to this layer. The way to duplicate a layer is to do Control J. Control J. So I'm going to Control J that and see now I have two layers saying awoof. I'm going to hide this one so that in case we need to go back to it, because we want to do something with awoof layer now that might mess things up. Okay, so class, should we continue this class tomorrow? Because this is getting, time is going, or should we stay on? Should we continue tomorrow?
Let's continue tomorrow.
Should we continue the class or should we continue tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Marquee, what did you say, tomorrow?
I said tomorrow. I don't
Tomorrow.
know. About...
I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on with the audio tonight. Type.
It's from your own hand. Tomorrow. Let me type.